Good morning from Australia, mate. Good day, mate. Good day, mate. I don't know. I'm only been here a couple of days. I should get the hang of it pretty soon. But yeah, good morning from Australia. I'm all bundled up right now in the middle of June because it's actually winter here. It is 50 degrees right now in Melbourne and it is freezing cold. But regardless, I wanted to make a video about how I got here because I got here on a $150 ticket. And when I told people this, they were like, what? Can you please tell me what is your process? So this video is going to be tips on how to travel really cheap. Don't pay full price for airfare again. So the first thing that I'm going to say when you want to travel for cheap is you need to be flexible with your time and the destination. I always say that I don't choose the trip chooses me. And what do I mean by that? I usually go on websites, and if it's within my time frame that I have for vacation or time off and there's a cheap deal, I make it work. Of course, I have places that I want to go to, and when those two things align, cheapness and where I want to go, it's beautiful. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Another tip, you need to know where to look. So the first thing I do is, one, I have like email alerts set up for Scott's cheap deals. They're literally my favorite. Every time my bank account goes low, it's because of them. Basically, you pick a home airport and they will send you email alerts of all the places that have deals from that home airport. And I've gotten so many. Went to Belize for $111 one way, and I just planned my trip around Cuba and Mexico and all those things because of Scott's cheap deals. It's my favorite website to use. Another thing, Google Flights. Google Flights is the best way that you can just quickly check prices. So what I do is when I get a ping from Scott's cheap deals, I immediately go to Google Flights and they will show you all the different airlines and time frames. Sometimes the time frames are outside of what you'll find on Scott's cheap deals, so it's good to have the two to compare together. And then another thing that I use is Skyscanner. Skyscanner, they have this tool. You put in your starting point, like Los Angeles, for example, and then you go to destination and you put everywhere, and then you put a time like July, June, whatever, and it will show you from cheapest to most expensive which countries that you can go to. And I have found so many cheap deals that way. That's usually how I choose where I'm going to travel. Another tip, you need to know how to look. Now, besides going to those websites that I just mentioned, you need to know that cookies and tracking and all that, they will play with you. So before you go to check flights, make sure you go in incognito mode. You clear your cookies, just make it a blank slate, and then proceed to look for your flight. Another trick is go to the website of the country that you want to go to and try to buy the ticket there. Right now, the Australian dollar is really low compared to the US dollar. So what I've been doing is I've been going to the Australia sites and booking tickets, and then that makes my ticket automatically like 30% off because the Australian dollar is that low right now. Another tip, people need to travel. Some of you guys live in cities that never have deals. Some of you guys live in great cities that always have deals. You need to be willing to travel. What do I mean? Would you jump on a train to get to another city so you could save $300? That's what I do. So in Colombia, I lived in a small kind of town that had an airport, but it was so expensive to fly out all the time. So I would jump on a bus to Cartagena, and each time it would save me hundreds of dollars. But you gotta be willing to travel. This one's really important. Try to avoid peak travel season. Peak travel season is August because everybody's going back to school. Like the whole world is just traveling. I made that mistake. I learned that mistake the hard way during my Europe trip. I did not book my ticket in time. I was like, yeah, like the tickets I see is like $200-300 one way. Like I'll book it. Well, when it was time to book and it was August, The cheapest one way I found from Europe was like $800, and that was really hard. That's the most I've ever paid ever for a ticket, and it was only for a one way. Yeah, so avoid August if you can. Summer is peak travel season. Obviously holidays like New Year's and Christmas, spring break in March and April. Now, you can get lucky if you get deals, like if you pay attention to Scott's cheap deals. They will also show you fares that have availability during peak times. I'm a teacher, so all of my travel is always during peak times, but yet I'm still able to find cheap deals, mostly because of those websites I keep on plugging. Another way, you need to book now and plan later. I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes those deals only last for hours. Sometimes they might last for a day. If you wait to see if you want to have people go with you or wait for like the family to plan, you're gonna miss out. Luckily, a lot of the airlines, especially in the US, they have a policy where you have 24 hours to cancel. So book that and then talk later. Within 24 hours, if you decide that you don't want to do the trip, that's fine, you can always cancel. But one thing I do before I book, I take a few seconds and I just quickly look up on booking.com to see what availability is, because sometimes you'll go and the accommodations are outrageous because there is a festival in town. And so you need to make sure that you're not planning like a date when the city is just packed and there's no rental cars and there's no places to stay. I've done that before. Take the time, just look up accommodations really quick and how much they're gonna be, and then book that plane ticket. Okay, this one, I feel so adult when I use this one, because this is totally how I did not travel when I was a broke college student. But I use points because I have a credit card that gives me miles for every dollar. I happen to use the American Express Delta Gold credit card, and I've been able to save tons of money. I've already gotten round trip tickets internationally. I get to save on baggage. It's actually worked out really well for me. I wish I would have gotten the card now, because I would have gotten double the miles than I did when I applied for it like 2 years ago. But you know, also I'm about to take advantage of the, what's it called? Global entry. If you pay for it with your American Express card, then you get the $95, $99 fee reimbursed. So that's a really good benefit as well. And so that's also what I use to travel cheap. I got a ticket from Bogota to Beijing to Los Angeles. The cost was $600. With my points, I believe I paid $200. Not too bad. Another thing, try to book one-way tickets. I know it sounds strange. Why would it be cheaper to book one-ways than it is to just do round trip? I honestly don't know that answer, but I do know that booking separate tickets sometimes is the way to go. Something else you need to know, do not be afraid of long layovers. A layover can be your friend. My favorite thing to do when I look for trips is extend the layover option. When it tells you how many hours would you wait for a layover, I go 23 hours, 18 hours. Why? Because you basically get a free trip. I just had a layover for 22 hours in Aruba, and it was the best decision that I've had. Some airlines actually, like Qatar, and I think it's Singapore Airlines, they actually give you tours for free during your long layover. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Nothing comes super easy, not even looking for deals. You need to treat this like a hobby. You need to make sure that you sign up for those websites. I've been saying this whole time. Sign up for those websites. Get the email alerts. Check every once in a while. Do your due diligence, because it's not gonna really fall in your lap like you want it to. You gotta do a little bit of work, but maybe you'll be like me. Once you find one deal, it kind of doesn't seem like a work anymore. It's kind of like an enjoyable hobby. So when like my email pings and there's a deal, like my eyes light up and I'm like, okay, let me go. So yeah, treat it like a hobby, something that you actually have to work a little bit for. I know you don't want to hear that. You just want it to, you know, fall in your lap. It would be nice, but if it were that easy, then everybody would be doing it. And another way to save money is you should pack lightly. Now you already know that nowadays all of these airlines, they've been trying to nickel and dime you with baggage fees. $30 here, $50 here. Sometimes it's free for international, sometimes you have to pay. It's hard to keep up with. I basically pack light. I carry on everything, and I mean everything. I have a really worn, big backpacker's backpack that I use, and that's my carry-on. I stuff everything in it. If I have a trip for 3 weeks, it goes with me. If I have a trip for 6 or 7 weeks, everything is in there. Now I like to use packing cubes. Shack Pack is the brand that I use, and I totally recommend them. Got it on Amazon. That's a way for you to like compress everything, organize everything, so you get everything fit into your carry-on, and then you just saved yourself like $50, just like that. Another thing, I make sure to try to fly Delta as much as I can, because if you have that credit card like I was talking about before, you get a free check bag. Buy the basic economy, and then you use your credit card to get the extra luggage for free. Then you don't really have to pack so light. So there you have it. I feel like I've given you every single tip possible. If I think of something else, I'll just do another video or like put it down below. But if you find any of this helpful, please share it with your friends, like and subscribe. I'll be doing some more videos about my process of what I do step by step to book cheap travel. I'm a visual person, so I like to see things. And then the teacher in me also would rather like show you step by step. I can't help it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you find some of these tips helpful.